If you see such a doll, do not touch it, because it is actually alive, or a serial killer. It carries a knife with it, and once someone bullies its owner, the doll will immediately kill him. Little life. The new owner of the doll is this socially phobic boy. He usually has no other hobbies, is very fond of collecting dolls. You see his room is not only full of dolls, there is a sculpture made of dolls. Take a closer look, is not a little nun. He bought the new doll to take it home to study. But let the boy is strange. How the doll's head cannot be screwed down, no choice. He had to take out a hand knife, but at this point, the doll's eyes actually moved, the hand also slowly lifted. Good thing the boy's father appeared in time to interrupt the doll's action. Suddenly, the doll still opened his mouth and the boy said hello. The doll actually had a voice function. The boy was even happier, and also showed off with his father. But the father was very incomprehensible. Over the years, he only wanted his son to be as normal as others. But just then relatives came to visit, and the uncle was not subtle. Said his own son are on the first grade, your son how not to compete a little. The drunken father was poked in the heart, and when all the relatives left, he picked up a baseball bat and smashed his son's beloved sculpture. The room was smashed to pieces, leaving the doll in the corner as the boy's only comfort. In order to keep his alcoholic father from destroying the last doll, the boy begins to take him to school. But the price of this is to suffer the strange looks of his classmates. A girl took a picture of this scene, and also posted the photo on the internet, so that the whole network spoof to the boy made a very humiliating. Let the boy immediately feel very aggrieved. He gave the doll to the teacher for safekeeping. The teacher also sympathized with him, called the girl to criticize her. The teacher put the doll on the desk, just behind the girl. It turned out that coincidentally, the teacher also suddenly had an urgent matter and left the classroom in a hurry. When the girl was playing with her cell phone, the doll behind her actually jumped down. The girl looked around in fear. She wanted to run away, but the doll was standing at the door. It was getting closer and closer to her. The girl was shivering. The teacher saved the girl's life, but she wasn't so lucky next. When the boy returned home, he found that his father was angry again. And he took the doll and questioned his son why he was still playing with this. The boy was also puzzled. He clearly gave the teacher a. He was curious to open the back of the doll, surprised to find that the doll actually no batteries. So where did his voice come from? In fear. The boy had to throw the doll away, but he did not yet know that the doll would reappear. The teacher asked the boy to dissect the frog, but the boy was born bloodsick, hesitant to lay hands on the frog, so he could not easily cut a slit. He began to feel nauseous. The result was that the knife was placed just in front of the doll, and when the boy turned around, the frog had been disemboweled. The boy could not believe it. He suspected that the doll was probably alive. He clearly threw it into the trash, but by the time of the school cultural performance, it was sitting behind him. To keep the crowd from suspecting, the boy picked up the doll. But what he did not expect was that the doll actually whispered to him. Under the compulsion of the doll, the boys take the doll onto the stage in full view of the crowd. Because the performer on stage is the same female classmate who bullied the boy, the doll wanted to ruin the girl's performance and take revenge for his master. So the doll in the boy's hand began to talk, and the audience thought he was performing ventriloquism. And the boy had to freeze and cooperate. The doll took out the girl's cell phone from her pocket. The girl saw this and immediately rushed up, but the doll turned around menacingly and scared the girl backwards. This scene caused laughter on stage. The doll began to go through the girl's search records, saying that she had skinny face injections and that she had found several preparatory boyfriends. The most important one search record made the girl lose face instantly. The revenge plan was successful. The girl no longer dared to bully the boy, but the consequence of this is that the boy was suspended from school. The father heard what his son had done and became even more angry with him. No matter how much the son explained, the drunken father slapped him hard. He snatched the boy's doll and was planning to take care of it, but he was obviously gullible and messed with the doll with unimaginable consequences. Waiting for the father to return to the couch, found the bottle of wine is gone, and then the home, suddenly bizarre power failure. The father ran to the basement to repair the circuit, but the doll has long laid an ambush and began its murderous plans. The doll was so terrible that it spat out of its mouth the wine it had just drunk, electrocuting the barefooted father, resulting in his death by electrocution. The boy heard the sound and went downstairs, only to see his father holding up a hand. And then went closer to see that his father had been electrocuted and fixed in place. It is hard to imagine that these are dolls to make a ghost. The boy was in shock, and when he was questioned by the police, he kept the doll under wraps, because he had long hated his father, who had never once supported him since he was a child, and now that he was dead, the boy was relieved, and when he returned to his room, he no longer wanted to be soft on the doll, and started confronting it directly. Now the doll is not pretending either. He slowly stands up and reveals his identity. It turns out that just before the boy bought the doll, he had a small orange cat, but this cat was very naughty and did not move to molest the doll. Who knew? The doll in a fit of rage actually to the lovely kitten. Knowing the cruelty of the doll, the boy has been too scared to make a sound. More to his fear is that the doll actually pulled out a knife.
Let's talk about that bitch, Lexi.